We all know the stories of heroes. Bold, clean, triumphant. But the truth behind peace is rarely that simple. What happens when saving the world means sacrificing everything that made you human? This is the story of General Arion, a man celebrated across the stars and haunted in every quiet moment. History carved my name in stone. I'm the hero who silenced the guns of a generation-long war. They sing songs about the day I saved us all. They teach it to their children in classrooms. A simplified, glorious fable of sacrifice and victory. My face is on monuments, my name on starships. I'm the architect of this tranquil future. But they don't sing about the faces I see in my nightmares. The faces of the people I was trying to protect. They don't tell the story of the monster it took to create their legend. They tell the story of General Arion, the Lion of Cygnus, the savior. They don't know the story of the man who hears the ghosts of Oakhaven in the rustling leaves and sees the shadow of his sin in the light of the very suns he fought to keep shining. Before my name meant peace, it was just a whisper of hope in an age of despair. The Great War, as the historians call it now, had raged for 50 standard years. It was a war of attrition against the Vex, an insectoid collective that fought with a chilling, unified purpose. They didn't build, they consumed. They didn't negotiate, they assimilated. To them, we weren't a rival civilization. We were a resource, a plague to be cleansed. For 2 generations, humanity was locked in a desperate, losing battle. We fought with courage, with ingenuity, with a fury born from loving what we were protecting. But we were outnumbered, outmaneuvered. The Vex hive mind. Let them operate with a speed and coordination our command structures could never match. They adapted to every strategy, turned every weapon back on us, and slowly, system by system, they pushed us back. Worlds fell. Billions died. Hope was a currency rarer than any element on the periodic table. The war effort had become a grim machine, eating lives and resources at a rate we couldn't sustain. We weren't fighting to win anymore. We were fighting to delay our own extinction. The mood in high command was quiet, dignified resignation. They were preparing for humanity's last stand. And that's where I came in. My proposal was radical, unthinkable. They called it Project Chimera. Not an assault, not a fleet battle, but a single surgical strike of unimaginable power. A weapon that wouldn't just destroy a target, but would erase it from space-time, creating a localized event horizon. Theoretically, it would sever the Vex's psychic link across the entire sector. It was our only shot, a roll of the dice with humanity on the table. The High Command, out of options, finally agreed. They gave me carte blanche. They gave me the power to forge a miracle. They tasked me with becoming a legend. Today, I stood before one of my monuments. It's in the middle of Unity Plaza on the Capital World, pristine white Martian marble. It's me in my dress uniform, gazing toward some hopeful horizon. The inscription reads, Arion, he looked into the abyss and forged a star of hope. I just stared at it for an hour, lost in the crowd. Just another old man in a plain coat. I wondered who wrote those words. Some poet, probably. Someone who never sat in a command chair, bathed in the cold blue light of a tactical display, with the weight of billions of lives resting on a single keystroke. A star of hope? No. I didn't forge a star. I collapsed one. The truth isn't in the pristine marble. It's in the cracks you only see up close. The truth is the ghost of a choice so monstrous it had to be buried under a mountain of metals and a pantheon of lies. Everyone believes the war ended with a clean, heroic victory, a master stroke of strategic genius, that I outsmarted the Vex and crippled their command with minimal collateral damage. The official histories are sanitized, scrubbed clean of the awful, screaming reality. This legend they've built around me is a fortress. It keeps the horror out, but it also keeps me in. I'm revered, but untouchable. People see the monument, not the man, the savior, not the sinner. When they look at me, I see a stranger wearing my face reflected in their eyes. The isolation is profound. It's the loneliness of being a symbol. A symbol can't share a drink with a friend. A symbol can't confess its sins. A symbol can't grieve. It just stands there, carved in stone, looking toward our own forces, blue and green. We're a flickering, fading light. The final Vex offensive was on. Projections gave us 3 days. 72 hours until the capital fell. Your Project Chimera is ready, General, Admiral Eva Rostova said, her voice a low gravel worn down by decades of giving impossible orders. The weapon is in position. We just need your final authorization.
Project Chimera, a cascade resonance weapon, not a bomb. It didn't explode, it imploded. It targeted one location and created a quantum singularity, a pinprick of infinite density that would evaporate in less than a nanosecond. But in that instant, its gravity well would be so immense it would shred the local fabric of space-time, like yanking a thread from a tapestry. The psychic web of the Vex would be torn apart, an instantaneous lobotomy for the entire Vex collective in the sector. And the target was Oakhaven, my home. The Vex have fully integrated their nexus into the city's subterranean infrastructure, a young analyst explained, his voice trembling just a bit. Their psychic nodes are intertwined with the geothermal power conduits, the water filtration systems, the very foundations of the city. There's no way to separate the military target from the civilian one. They're one and the same. What are the latest civilian population estimates? I asked, my voice a carefully constructed calm. I already knew. Rostova glanced at her datapad. The Vex kept the humans as a labor force and a biological shield. We estimate over 2 million souls are still in the city. 2 million. 2 million men, women, children. My people, my city. I closed my eyes, and the sterile light of the command deck was replaced by the warm sun of my memories. The great oak in the town square, its branches a canopy for laughing children, the smell of rain on asphalt in summer, the scent of fresh bread from Mrs. Gable's bakery, the chime of the maglev trains, the distant roar from the gravball stadium, my mother's garden, My father's workshop, the face of my first love under the festival lanterns, an entire world of small, perfect moments, all resting on the chopping block. "There has to be another way," I whispered. The words tasted like ash. "A ground assault, precision strikes." Admiral Rostova shook her head, her expression a mix of pity and grim resolve. "We've run the simulations 1,000 times, Arion. A ground invasion would be a slaughter. We'd lose what's left of the fleet just getting to the surface. Precision strikes won't penetrate the deep earth shielding. The weapon is too entangled. This is the only path to survival." She was right. My own damn logic had led me here, to this single terrible conclusion. It was a monstrous equation, a hellish piece of cosmic arithmetic. 2 million lives waiting.
They were looking for a monster. Someone willing to do what they couldn't. Someone willing to bear the sin so they could live in peace. They needed a butcher to give them a future. I took a deep breath. The recycled air felt thin and cold. I opened my eyes and pushed the memories away, locking them in a box in the back of my mind. "Authorize it," I said. The words were quiet, steady. Begin the final countdown. I had become the man they needed me to be. I had just condemned my own world to save everyone else's. There was no thunderous roar, no brilliant flash of light from orbit. The end of my world was a silent, clinical affair on a data screen. The countdown hit 0. For a moment, nothing. The tactical display still showed Oakhaven, a green-blue marble, oblivious. Then the telemetry went insane. A single red pixel appeared at the city's heart. Event 0. Instantly, every sensor reading from the planet flatlined. Seismic detectors spiked beyond measurement, then went dead. Atmospheric sensors reported a momentary vacuum, then went dead. The live video feed from our orbital drone just turned to static. "Report," I commanded, my voice betraying nothing. "Event confirmed," the young analyst said, his face ashen. "Singularity formed and dissipated as projected. All telemetry from the surface is gone. The weapon, it worked, sir." On the main holo table, something extraordinary was happening. Across the entire sector, the red Vex icons began to flicker. They turned a sickly yellow, then a dead, lifeless gray. Their formations, once so precise, broke apart. Ships drifted aimlessly, some fired on each other. The hive mind was gone. The body was spasming, dying, severed from its brain. A cheer started in the corner, a single, tentative cry of joy that swelled into a deafening roar. Officers were embracing, weeping with relief. The 50-year nightmare was over. They were clapping me on the back, shaking my hand, their faces bright with a dawn I couldn't see. They were celebrating a victory. I just stood there, silent. I should have felt pride, relief, anything. But all I felt was the unbearable weight of what I'd done. I wasn't watching the dying Vex fleet. I was staring at the blank spot on the map where Oakhaven used to be. I wasn't hearing the cheers of the living. I was hearing the imagined, silent screams of 2 million dead. In the quiet of the command, I had won the war. I had saved humanity. And in that moment of ultimate triumph, I knew, with absolute certainty, that I was a monster. There are 2 major memorials on the capital world. The first is in Unity Plaza, the grand monument to me, the victor. The second is quieter, more somber. It's called the Oakhaven Remembrance Park. I've never visited officially. I go alone, at dusk, when the crowds are gone. It's not a park of statues, it's a park of names. Tens of thousands of black granite pillars arranged in a gentle spiral. Etched in small silver letters are the names of the 2 million souls lost in what the official records call the Oakhaven Sacrifice, a sanitized noble term for a massacre. I walk among the pillars, my hand trailing against the cold stone. I don't need to read the names, I know them. These weren't statistics, they were my world. Pillar 347, Elara Vance. My first kiss. We were 16, clumsy and terrified, behind the bleachers at the Grav Ball Championship. She tasted of sugar-spun confection and ozone. She had a laugh that could make flowers bloom in winter. Her dream was to be a xenobotanist. She wanted to see the universe. I gave her a nanosecond of oblivion. Pillar 1012, Samuel Gable. He owned the bakery on my street corner. A big man with a flour-dusted apron and a booming laugh. Every morning he'd slip me a warm sunbun, he'd ruffle my hair and tell me to study hard, that a sharp mind was more important than a strong arm. His wife, Maria, is on the pillar right next to his. They died together, in the warmth of their home. Pillar 5228, Kalen. Just Kalen, an orphan from the city mission with mismatched eyes, one blue, one hazel. He used to sit on the library steps, reading discarded data pads. I saw some older kids bullying him once, and I stepped in. I bought him some soup and told him the people in books could be his friends until he found real ones. He gave me a gap-toothed smile that was the purest thing I'd ever seen. I wonder if he was scared at the end. I wonder if he was lost in a story when his own was so brutally erased. Sometimes I wonder if he would have grown up to be a writer or a teacher, all those futures gone in a breath I gave. I do this every week. I walk the spiral and I remember. This is my penance, my private, unending funeral. The strategists debate the morality of it in their ivory towers. They call it Arion's calculus, the grim equation of the lesser evil. Is it right to sacrifice one city to save a species? It's a clean academic question for them. For me, it's not. The greater good is a fine thing to fight for, but I was the one who had to define good and what greater cost. My home now is a sterile apartment that overlooks the capital. It's filled with awards, the Galactic Medal of Valor, the Star of Terra. They sit in glass cases, gleaming under soft lights. They feel less like trophies and more like headstones, each one a reminder of the lie. The lie was the most brilliant part of the whole campaign. Not the military one, the one that came after, the campaign of history. The official narrative they teach in schools is a masterpiece of propaganda. It says Oakhaven was a fortress world, its population either eliminated or turned into collaborators, a tragic but necessary military target. They even fabricated evidence, doctored communications, fake Vex transmissions about a bioweapon. They made my monstrous act seem like a regrettable, clean necessity. It was done to protect the people from the truth, to give them a hero without blood on his hands, to give them a peace that wasn't built on a foundation of 2 million of their own. They said it was to protect me, to make my burden bearable. But the lie is a heavier burden than the truth ever could be. A few people know the real story. The other members of High Command, a handful of survivors from Oakhaven who were off-world. I see them sometimes. The politicians and brass look at me with a kind of fearful awe. I'm their living sin, the embodiment of the terrible choice they made with me. They're grateful, but they keep their distance. The survivors of Oakhaven are different. Some look at me with a pure, undiluted hatred that's almost a relief in its honesty. I deserve that. I accept it. But others look at me with a terrifying kind of understanding, a shared grieving recognition. They know the calculus. They hate what I did, but they understand why. And that look, that forgiveness I haven't earned and do not want, is the cruelest judgment of all. The title legend is a cage. A legend is immortal. A legend is perfect. A legend doesn't have nightmares. Arion, the man, died in that command chair. He died with Alara, Samuel, and Kalen. What's left is this monument of flesh and blood, a walking, talking ghost, tasked with playing the hero for the rest of his days. Sleep offers no escape. It's a return. My dreams are never of the Vex. They're of Oakhaven on a perfect autumn day. The twin suns are low, casting long shadows. I'm a child again, running through the town square. I can hear the fountain, smell the roasting nuts from a street vendor. I can hear my mother calling my name. And then the sound just stops.
My turn. And the city is gone. Not ruined. Not burning. Just gone. Replaced by a smooth, black, glassy plain under a starless sky. I'm alone, on the edge of nothing. And the silence is filled with the pressure of 2 million silent voices, all screaming my name. I always wake up then. I knew the price the moment I gave the order, but I didn't understand it until weeks later. The war was over. Parades were being held. They wanted me as the guest of honor. I refused. I took a shuttle, alone, and flew to my home system. I had to see it. The quarantine was in effect, they said, for my own safety. But I saw it from orbit. The scar. It wasn't a crater of rubble and fire. Project Chimera was more elegant than that. Where Oakhaven had been, there was a vast circular depression. Its surface was fused into a dark, obsidian-like glass that reflected the stars. A wound on the world. A cauterized socket where a city used to be. It was beautiful in a terrible, cosmic way. A perfect circle of black. Some wounds don't bleed. They just stare back at you, cold and silent, asking if the world was truly worth it. And in that moment, seeing that sterile, geometric scar, I finally understood. I hadn't beaten the Vex by being smarter or stronger. I beat them by being more monstrous. I took their greatest weapon, their cold, calculating disregard for individual life, and I perfected it. To kill the monster, I had to become something worse. The stories we tell about our heroes are simple. They're polished and clean, free of the impossible choices and devastating costs that victory demands. If you care about exploring those complex truths, about looking into the shadows cast by even the brightest legends, consider sticking around for more stories that look beyond the myth. And I want you to share in the comments, what do you believe is the true cost of peace? I'm standing at my window. The city below is a river of light, peaceful and prosperous. They live without fear of the Vex. They live in the peace I bought for them. From up here, I can't see the monument to the hero or the memorial to his victims,
I can only see the result. Life. Thriving, beautiful, ignorant life. I've come to accept the duality of my existence. I am not one or the other. I'm both. To the world, I am General Arion, the savior, the legend. To myself, in the haunted quiet of my soul, I am the butcher of Oakhaven, the monster. The legend is the lie they needed. The monster is the truth I have to carry. I don't ask for forgiveness. There is none to be had for what I did. I don't ask for understanding. Who could truly understand? I just exist, a testament to the terrible paradox of it all. The peace they enjoy is real. The price was just as real. They sing songs of the day I saved them. I am the silence where a city once stood. I am their peace, and I am their ghost. History will remember the legend. The songs will tell of a savior who brought light to the darkness. But behind every peaceful dawn, there's a cost we rarely speak of. If stories like this resonate with you, if you believe truth matters more than myth, consider staying for more. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you believe is the true cost of peace? Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep questioning the stories we're told and the ones we tell ourselves.